Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to talk about Carl Ballantine. Carl Ballantine. I hope you know who this guy is. It's been a while, since he's been in the public eye. He passed away in 2009 at the age of 92. He was one of our greats. Okay, in fact, many people look to him as the father of comedy magic. And I don't think that there are many comedy acts that can rise to this gentleman's level. He was an incredible talent, and it is my great pleasure to introduce him to you if you don't already know who he is. By the way, I'm going to put a link down below. David Copperfield, a young David Copperfield. He's just at the beginning of his career in one of his earlier television specials, introducing the great Carl Ballantine. And Carl's entire act is right there for you to see and enjoy. Now, if you're looking for mystifying magic, okay, maybe Carl is not your guy. But if you're looking to laugh and have a great time, Carl is your man. So let me tell you a little bit about this great hero of magic, Carl Ballantine. He was born September 28, 1917, crossed over November 4th, 2009, at the ripe age of 92. He was known as the Great Ballantine, the Amazing Ballantine, Ballantine, the world's greatest magician, and others called him the father of comedy magic. He was born Meyer Kessler in Chicago, Illinois. He was inspired at the age of 9 by his barber, who used to do tricks for him when he would get his hair cut, mostly using thimble magic. In the 1930s, he did a straight comedy act, went by the name of Count Marakoff, or Carlton Sharpe, or Carl Sharpe, in Chicago. Later, he moved to New York City, where he performed in nightclubs and on television variety shows as a standard performance artist magician. In the 1940s, according to his daughter, one night one of his tricks got screwed up. He said something to cover it up. The audience laughed. So he started adding more of those bits to his act, and over time his comedy act evolved. In the 1940s, he switched to comedy magic, changed his name to Carl Ballantine after he noticed a bottle of Ballantine whiskey in an advertisement and decided it sounded show businessy and classy. He called his act Ballantine, the world's greatest magician. He entertained the troops with that act during World War II. In the 1950s, the amazing Mr. Ballantine appeared in the New York Capitol in 1950. The great Ballantine appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show and the Steve Allen Show. By 1955, he was the first magician to play Las Vegas. Hear that? 1955, first magician to play Las Vegas, Carl Ballantine. So the rest of you who are out there doing it now, Vegas is a magic town. You can thank Carl Ballantine. From 1962 to 1966, he was Lester Gruber on McHale's Navy. I love that show. I still watch it today. If you haven't seen it, take a look. McHale's Navy, 1962 to 1966. Carl Ballantine. He appeared in many, many films, including McHale's Navy, 1964, Penelope, 1966, Speedway, 1968, The Shakiest Gun in the West, 1968, and many, many more over the course of the next 20 or 30 years. In 1973, his television appearances include Car 54, The Partridge Family, I Dream of Jeannie, and the Monkees' great film television shows of the 60s and 70s. 1973, he won the Academy of Magical Arts Special Fellowship Award. September 17, 1988 to December 10, 1994. He was a recurring voice on Garfield and Friends. 2006 Lifetime Achievement Fellowship from the Academy of Magical Arts, presented by Steve Martin. Steve Martin said of Carl Ballantine, and I quote, "Carl Ballantine influenced not only myself, but a generation of magicians and comedians. He was also the most copied act by a host of amateurs and professionals." David Copperfield said, "Carl Ballantine created comedy magic." Let me read that again. Carl Ballantine created comedy magic. The combination of magic and comedy had perhaps been done before, but he truly defined it and made it his own. I'm going to put a link to his act down below, introduced by David Copperfield. Please take a look. The great Carl Ballantine. Let me read to you. These are some quotes from his act that I just love. "If you're going to watch that close, the trick is off." Love that line. I love it when he's, throughout his act, which is a fairly short act, he's trying to restore a piece of rope, and it just doesn't work out. Finally, he looks backstage and he says, "Who's been messing with the props?" Love that bit, love that bit. He looks at the audience and he says, "No magic, just a charming personality." And my favorite line, "This takes a lot out of an artist, but it don't bother me too much." Carl Ballantine. Folks, thank you so much for joining me. Please comment down below. Please subscribe if you've not done so already. Have a great day. Bye-bye.